Slammy, ego, slammy, ego, slammy, hey. Hit it up hard, hit him with a strike. From the national anthem to the bottom of the night. Amen. Slammy, ego, slammy, ego, slammy, ego, slammy, hey. You already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. But you know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 370 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fadden with you here on March 24th, 2023. I know this is a Padres show. The core of the show is Padres, but San Diego State is moving on to the Elite Eight. They just upset the number one team in the country, the biggest win in program history over Alabama. So we will get to that eventually, and I'll have my reaction and have your thoughts as well. But it's a great day to be a San Diego sports fan, that's for sure. Blake Snell was named the opening day starter today. Rougned Odor, is he on the roster? Adam Engel dealing with some hamstring stuff. Fernando homered today. Blake Snell pitched really well today. Brent Honeywell pitched pretty well today. So a lot of positive things. There's positive Nola Soto updates. Nola, he could get in a couple games in Cactus League play. That's what Bob Melvin told the media earlier today. Juan Soto took dry swings today. So a lot is going good so far here in San Diego today. What a day, man. Let's start with Blake Snell. So he was named opening day starter, and this was not a surprise to me. Darvish, he was not going to be ready to start opening day. Only threw 93 pitches in the World Baseball Classic combined. So he needs to get ramped up. And so the update on Darvish is he's going to throw 3 to 4 pitches tomorrow in a minor league game, which could set him up to pitch the 6th game of the season, which is April 4th, before the day off where they go to Atlanta. April 6th is the date, I believe, where that Musgrove is targeting, which is the first game in Atlanta, obviously. So what the Padres could be doing here is have Snell start game 1 and then go Martinez that Friday game, March 31st against the Rockies, because Martinez is lined up to pitch tomorrow. So just based on scheduling, that would make the most sense. Would Snell go Thursday with Martinez going Friday, and then maybe Waka goes Saturday, Lugo Sunday. They could go Jay Groom on, what would that be, Monday against, I think, Arizona. It's weird. It's a 2-game series there, not 3. 2 games. Then they have Darvish pitch that Tuesday game, April 4th. Then the off day. Then Musgrove, April 7th. That's maybe how they're going to line it up here. It makes sense, at least for Darvish to pitch that final game of the homestand, the first homestand of the season. Then Musgrove, the date he's been targeting, if everything goes well, him pitch the opener in Atlanta. And then have Snell obviously pitch the opener, have Martinez pitch on Friday, right? Yeah, Friday. That makes the most sense. And then the rest of the starters, they would fall in where they go. It seems like if Darvish does start, if he's in line to start that 6th game of the year, then obviously the first time around, they'd go at least with the 6-man rotation. So it does seem to make sense that Jay Groom would get a start, because he's the favorite right now among anyone to get a start. You'd think it would be Jay Groom. And then after the first time through the rotation, maybe they have Jay Groom just go to the bullpen and be a long man alongside Nabil. They could do that. But for Blake Snell, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that he doesn't deserve starting on opening day. Like, if he's ready to go, and according to Bob Melvin and even Blake Snell, I think, has said it himself, he is more prepared. He's more ramped up than he has been in previous spring trainings with the Padres. So if he's ready to do it, then yeah, good for him. He had a good second half, last year. He started postseason pretty well. The first game wasn't his best game. I should say he finished the postseason better than he started it. He finished the season better than he started it. But it's different circumstances. It seems like he's really motivated this year. And not just for the Padres' sake of things, right? Going to try to go win the division. But for him, he's a free agent at the end of the year. I don't see him coming back to the Padres. That's just where my head's at with that right now. But hey, if he's the most prepared that he's ever been with the Padres going into this year, and he pitches his butt off and he's has a Cy Young caliber year, I will clap that up. I will be all for that because I'm already anticipating him leaving in free agency. So if he has this amazing year, that's going to help the Padres, and the Padres are going to be in a good spot to go win it all. If Blake Snell is pitching well, you think Darvish and Musgrove will be. I'm confident in Nick Martinez. Maybe the Padres go acquire another starter, or Michael Wacha pitches well. That's a 5 deep rotation there. And then Lugo maybe in the bullpen at some point this year. That only makes that bullpen stronger. And you add Lugo to Hader, Suarez, Garcia, Hill, right? Wilson. That's a really deep pitching staff. And that's obviously like best case scenario. But hey, if Snell's ready to go, then I'm totally for him pitching opening day. And again, it was expected. Like, he's kind of the default opening day starter. It was going to happen because Darvish wasn't going to be ready to go. Musgrove wasn't going to be ready to go. His rehab process, it seems like he's going really well. Right, it's going well right now. So he's going to return earlier than what probably Padres fans, Padres personnel thought he was going to when that dumbbell, the what was it, a kettlebell dropped on his toe. But that's Joe. He's working his butt off to return. He wants to be pitching. He doesn't want to just steal money from the Padres. He wants to be out there and make every start. That's just who he is. He's an ultimate competitor, a leader on this team. And so that's part of the reason why I love him. And obviously the San Diego connection and all that, right? So that was the big news today. Blake Snell named the opening day starter. I think a bunch of other big league teams named their opening day starters today. Maybe it was like a Major League Baseball thing, like teams had to wait until a specific date to name them, because it wasn't just the Padres that named their opening day starters today. German Marquez is going to be starting opening day for the Rockies, I believe. I saw an article somewhere where there was like 8 teams that named their opening day starters today, including the Padres, or 8 Cy Young winners. Framber Valdez is going to start for the Astros. Dylan Cease for the White Sox. Shane Bieber for Cleveland. Luis Castillo for Seattle. Julio Urias starts for the Dodgers. Zach Gallen for the Diamondbacks. Corbin Burns for Milwaukee. Marcus Stroman for the Cubs. Blake Snell for, obviously, the Padres. German Marquez. Corey Kluber for the Red Sox. Interesting choice. Kyle Gibson for Baltimore. Zach Greinke for Kansas City. Pablo Lopez for the Minnesota Twins. Patrick Corbin for Washington. Max Fried for Atlanta. Eduardo Rodriguez for Detroit. Shane McClanahan for the Rays. Alek Manoah for Toronto. Miles Michaelis for the Cardinals because Wainwright got hurt, I think, a groin injury lifting weights. Mitch Keller for the Pirates. Hunter Green for the Reds. Ohtani for the Angels. Kyle Muller for the Oakland A's. Is that like every team? I named a bunch of starters there. I assume Garrett Cole for the Yankees, Logan Webb for the Giants, Nola for the Phillies, DeGrom for the Rangers, Verlander for the Mets, maybe. Verlander or Scherzer. So yeah, a lot of teams have already named their opening day starters. Again, it was expected, if you're following the Padres, that Snell was going to be named the opening day starter. Bomel said to the media earlier today, we feel like he's in a really good place this year. Mentioned him being ramped up more than in previous years, than last year as well. And Bomel also mentioned how Snell's motivated for many reasons to put together a really good season. And I think one of the main reasons is obviously he wants to get paid in free agency after the 2023 season. I think he'd be open to coming back to the Padres. I think the Padres would be open to having Blake back. But it feels like to me, like extending Darvish, they have Musgrove long term. Jay Groom's going to be here. He's on a rookie contract, right? Martinez, hopefully for multiple years. Wacha, hopefully for multiple years. Like, It seems like they'd be okay with Snell walking if he goes and gets a bunch of money somewhere else, if he has a really good year. But that's obviously something that will be decided down the road. Rougned Odor, he started in left field today in the Padres spring training win over the Los Angeles Angels. He's never played in the outfield before in his career. I saw earlier this morning on social media that he was taking some fly balls, I think with David Macias, the outfield coach, first base coach for the Padres. He was taking some fly balls in Peoria in right field, but I guess he played in left field today in the Padres spring training game. What this tells me is Rougned Odor is going to make the opening day roster. I think that's a kind of clue the Padres dropped today. Like, this guy's on the roster. Why would they be trying Rougned Odor in a position he's never played before for him to not make the roster, right? You know, AJ Preller, the Padres, they love their versatility. So they're only going to increase someone's versatility if they're going to be a part of the organization, I would think. So I think Odor is going to make it over Dixon now, if I had to guess. Yeah, today Odor played left, went 0 for 2, but he's hitting 290 this spring. They're going to take his major league experience over someone like Tim Lopes, who's had a really good spring. And he's a lefty bat. Tim Lopes is a righty. And Brandon Dixon, he hasn't really had a great spring. And he's a righty bat. And they already have a righty in Nelson Cruz, who's going to DH or be a bench bat. They have a Zokar who could be on the bench. We'll get to that here in a second. So they feel pretty good with their right-handed bats. They probably want a left-handed bat, infield bat, someone who can play multiple infield positions. And I guess emergency situation, they could put him in the outfield. I was not watching today's game, like every play of the game, so I don't know how Odor did in the outfield. I had school, but for me, them putting Odor in the outfield, it tells me that he's making the roster. They would not be experimenting him in the outfield this late into spring for him not to make the roster. I don't think. And now I know, this leads us into the Adam Engel stuff. Adam Engel dealing with a hamstring injury after catching that ball in the gap yesterday. Great play, but unfortunately it led to the hammy injury. He was dealing with a calf strain, I believe, earlier in spring. Now a hammy. Bob Melvin said that he doesn't see Engel playing another Cactus League game, so that obviously would take him out of the running to make the opening day roster. So it seems like the Padres opening day outfield group would be Soto, Grisham, Azokar, and Dahl. I don't know who it's Marquez, right? Marquez is a righty, so Dahl would probably start opening day in right field, and then Soto's in left, Grisham's in center. Soto, I'm putting Soto on the team because it seems like he will make it. He took some dry swings today. That was the latest update. And Bob Melvin's still optimistic that he will be able to make the opening day roster. He might even get some at-bats. Hopefully he does in the last couple spring training games. If not, he can still go get at-bats when the team's in San Diego those 2 days before opening day. They have 2 days off. There's the Monday, Tuesday spring training games against Seattle, and then, or it wouldn't be 2 days. It would be 1 day, I think. I think they just have that Wednesday off. He could still get at-bats then in like a live BP in San Diego, or just, get at-bats that Tuesday, get plenty of at-bats then. And even if he doesn't, like, you put him on the roster if he's feeling fine. It's Juan freaking Soto. It's not someone that's had limited at-bats. He hasn't played in as many games as he could have this spring. But when he was at the plate, he's not someone that was striking out all the time or popping up and his timing wasn't right. No, he's been hitting bullets this spring. He was hitting bullets, hitting bombs during the World Baseball Classic. So I'm not worried about Juan Soto getting enough at-bats. I know Bob Melvin and the Padres probably are, just like they are with every player. But if there's someone not to be worried about, he's one of the few to not be worried about in terms of how many at-bats they get in spring training. It's Juan Soto. I'm fairly confident in his offensive abilities. So yeah, Engel, it's unfortunate dealing with the hamstring issue, but this does open the opportunity for Azokar or Dahl to prove themselves while Engel is out, because we know Fernando's going to come back. April 20th. At least that's the plan. And he's looking really good. Homered today in spring. That guy is raking. He's hitting 324 this spring after starting like 0 for what? 0 for 16, 0 for 18 at the plate this spring. So I think he's going to be fine. And it seems to be adjusting better to right field and making some good plays at the wall, showing off his arm. So I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Fernando so far this spring, especially recently. And even if he sucked in spring, I'm not going to sit here and be worried about one of the most talented players on the face of the earth that play baseball. But getting back to Engel and the outfield situation, so he's probably going to start the year on the IL, or at least, yeah, IL and then rehab games in AAA. This gives the opportunity to Azokar, to Dahl to prove themselves. Tatis comes back. One of them is going to be not on the roster anymore. I would think Azokar. And then when Engel comes back, if that other guy that's still on the roster, if he's not playing well, then he will be off the roster. But if Dahl is playing really well, let's say, if he survives the roster, when Tatis comes back, he's playing really well, a left-handed bat, maybe they still keep Dahl on the roster and they say, hey, Adam Engel, I know he has the major league contract, but rehab a little bit longer, rehab for another week. Let's see, let's get you some more at-bats in AAA, make sure this injury is not going to creep up again, when the Padres are really just saying, hey, this guy's raking right now. He's staying on the roster until he stops, right? I don't know what the situation's like if Engel, if they option him to the minor leagues or if they even have the ability to do that. I think you'd have to go through waivers or try to trade him first, or he could just, because it's a major league contract, I think, I could be wrong on this, but I think he could just say, no, release me. I'm not going to the minor leagues. I could go sign a major league deal elsewhere. But hey, if you want to be on a contender, you're probably just going to have to accept a longer rehab assignment if Azokar, if Dahl are playing really well when Tatis returns and when Engel is ready to come back. Give him a few more at bats if someone's playing really well. So this is a good opportunity for Jose, good opportunity for David Dahl. David Dahl, I think he's really impressed so far this spring. I think Jose Azocar has had good moments this spring. And I think Engel is a better version of Jose Azocar. But look, the Padres, they're trying to win games in the regular season. You know, the games matter. So they're going to go probably with the hot bat, I would think, because both can play good defense. Both have speed. I don't think Engel has the strongest arm. Both their strong suits are not at the plate. But if Azokar is hitting well at the plate, then what's the option? What's the other option, right? They're going to probably stick with Azokar for that time. So unfortunate news with Engel, but it can be good news with Dahl and Azokar. You know, they're going to get that opportunity. So opening day outfield again, that group, I think it's going to be Soto, Grish, Dahl, Azokar, and then guys that can play the outfield in emergency situations. Odor, maybe, because he's playing some outfield. Matt Carpenter, Fangraphs still lists him as someone that could play the outfield, even though I don't think he's played the outfield yet this spring. Maybe he gets in there like Odor's getting in there just to get a little bit of reps. Those are two emergency outfielders if Dixon's not on the roster. But infielders, Manny, Bogarts, Kim, Cronenworth, Odor, Cruz, Carpenter, Campinola as the catchers. Like, that's how I see it happening right now. That position player group. But things can change, obviously, when I do from now until I do my last roster projection, probably right before opening day. So, yeah, that's the latest around Padres camp. Martinez starting tomorrow. So it seems like he would be in line to start that Friday game against the Rockies, the first City Connect game of the year. Good day from Blake Snell today. 6 innings, no runs, 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 6. So he backed up the Padres' decision to start him opening day there with his best outing of the spring. So like Snell, I know he pitched really well, but went 6 innings today. Darvish, where is he at right now in that process to get ramped up to like that point? 3-4 innings. That's what he's going to throw tomorrow in a minor league game, probably on a backfield. So he's a couple innings behind. So he's going to need that next start. So let's say, well, not let's say, we know he's going tomorrow. So you put him 1, 2, 3, 4, every fifth day, he'd throw on the 30th on opening day. Maybe that's in a bullpen session or live BP before the game on opening day, before the Padres hit. He could start then or just start in Peoria. Maybe he just stays in Peoria and just pitches there, then comes to San Diego, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That fifth day would be April 4th. So that's what I'm saying. Like that Tuesday game, that last game of the homestand, it seems like that would line him up pretty well to make that first start. All right, I'm going to get to your comments here, but first, a message about Gaglione Bros. Check out Gaglione Bros' famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries on Friars Road. You can visit their website, gaglionebros.com, for their entire menu and enjoy their cheesesteaks and fries at Petco Park and Snapdragon Stadium as well. All right, so Devin with a question here. Are they going with a six-man rotation? It seems like they're going with the six-man the first time around, and then maybe it's to be determined the second time around, because I think the second time around, if everything goes well, it would be Musgrove. Well, technically, Darvish starting the sixth game, Musgrove starting the seventh, so they're the top of the rotation. Then you just put Snell in that second Atlanta game. So maybe they don't go six, and once Darvish starts, then maybe they take Groom out of the rotation or the sixth starter out of the rotation, and they put him as a long man. We could see that. So I think they'd start with the six-man. Just based on the numbers and who's scheduled to start when, it seems like they'd start with the six-man. Is Dixon going to AAA because of Odor outperforming? Partly, probably. Again, I lean towards Odor going to San Diego to make the team. Dixon hasn't had a great spring. It's a lefty bat. A lot of major league playing time under Odor's belt. And they're experimenting with him in the outfield. They're putting him in the outfield here late in spring. So again, I don't think that they would be doing that if they were just going to say, "Hey, pack your bags, go to El Paso, or we'll release you, go sign with another team." They wouldn't be trying him in the outfield, I don't think. Irie says, according to the way he played today, he was ready to go. There was some good players in that lineup. Yep. Devin asks, what's happening with Tehran? Is he going to opt out? I think he can opt out by tomorrow. I saw something on MLB Trade Rumors about that. So I think he could opt out if the Padres aren't going to sit there tomorrow and say, hey, we're giving you a spot. If they don't give him a spot, then I would think he would opt out. But I don't know. He's had some rocky outings the last couple outings. Just from watching, a lot of missed spots. He doesn't blow anyone away with velocity. So maybe he's like, I'll just wait it out here with a contending team. I don't want to go sign with like the Rockies. I'm just throwing a team out there. I don't know if they're a fit for him. I don't want to go sign with someone like that. I'll just stick around in El Paso, see how it works out, see if some injuries happen, and then I could go join a World Series contender and be a part of a team that might go on and win the World Series. But I think there's a good chance of him opting out. Do you believe Corbin Burnes will be a Padre come the trade deadline? I'm hearing some speculation from fans. It's a good possibility. Well, key phrase there, speculation from fans. Us fans, we'd love to have Corbin Burnes. But do the Brewers want to trade their best pitcher? I don't know. It would seem like the best option for them is to trade Corbin Burnes. Are they going to win the World Series the next couple years? No. They're not set up for that. So you want to get a lot back for your best pitcher who's not happy with you right now after everything that happened in the arbitration process, right? The Brewers pretty much saying, yeah, you're the reason why we didn't make the playoffs last year. I would think that Burnes isn't going to sign back there. So Milwaukee, kind of like the Ohtani thing, might as well trade him, get something back, because I don't see that guy coming back to your team. Come the trade deadline, I can't even think about that, because who knows what's going to happen between now and the trade deadline. we could have an amazing rotation playing out, and the Padres be like, no, I'm not trading Jackson Merrill for Corbin Burns. Or they'll try to trade for him after the season ends to not have to give up as much, and risk him risk him not being available, but trade less to get him. I don't know. That's a long ways away. It's hard to think that it's hard for me to say, yeah, I think Corbin Burns is going to be a Padre come the trade deadline. If I had to lean towards yes or no right now, though, I would say no. What time is opening day? I believe it's 1:10 is the first pitch. Snell against German Marquez. Jurickson Profar is going to be back at Petco for opening day, but not in a Padre uniform. He'll probably get a good round of applause. Irie says Odor, Dahl, Azokar all deserve a chance. They're all going to get a chance. That's what it seems like with this Angle hamstring stuff and Odor playing some outfield. Looks like all three will be on the roster. So they will get a chance. And this Tatis suspension, the Angle injury, that's going to give Dahl and Azokar a good runway there. The first, few weeks of the year to show the Padres they deserve to be with the big league club when Tatis returns. Because one of them won't. The other will. Yeah, Devin says Burns switched his agent to Scott Boras, so he's looking to go get paid, obviously. That's what that means. And he will. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I would not blame you if you predicted him to go win the Cy Young in the National League this year. He's going to get paid. But again, he's not a free agent at the end of this year. He's a free agent at the end of next season, at the end of 2024 season. All right. I mean, there's not a whole lot to discuss around Padres spring training action. I'm at the point now where, I'm watching the games, but I just want guys to stay healthy. I'm focused on kind of the last few spots on the roster, like the depth guys. But it's kind of like, can we just get to opening day here? How many games the Padres have left? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 games left. They already had their split squad out of the way, so 4 games left. Just don't have any injuries. Kind of just keeping track of the Soto, the Nola timelines, the updates there. Again, Soto today had some dry hacks with the bat. Nola, what was the latest update on Nola? Nola, I believe he might have swung. He might have swung the bat a little bit today. Trying to look up the latest update on Nola from today. Dennis Lynn, I think he said on Darren Smith's show, San Diego Sports 760 today, that the Padres, they're very hopeful that Nola will be in the opening day lineup catching Blake Snell. And by the way, Snell pitched really well today, pitching to Luis Campusano. And it seemed like Snell was one of the ones that was very reluctant to have Campy catch him, but you kind of have to when Nola's not available. So we'll see. I lean towards Soto being on the opening day roster and being available. I lean towards Nola being available and starting on opening day. Campy's going to have to earn it, but if something goes wrong, the next week and he's not going to be ready, then Campy will be catching for Blake Snell on opening day. All right. I'm going to get to San Diego State here. Don't worry. Definitely going to get to San Diego State. But first,
I want to tell you about the best and easiest way to play fantasy sports. It's Underdog Fantasy. They have great pick'em games and best ball tournaments. In pick'em games, just pick higher or lower on 2 to 5 players' stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. You can go cross-team, cross-league, and even cross-sport. Best ball revolves around the draft, which is what every fan loves the most about fantasy, and it eliminates the hassle of having to manage your roster all season long, resulting in a fun and easy fantasy product. How does it work exactly? You enter a contest where you participate in a snake draft against other users. That lineup that you drafted competes against every other draft in the entire contest. The better the combined performance of your team, the more money you win. After your lineup is all played, Underdog will take the best performing players and automatically set them as your starting lineup. That's it. No waivers, no trades, no worrying about who to start or sit. After you complete your draft, your part is done. Underdog Fantasy offers best ball in a variety of ways, including daily contests, weekly contests, playoff contests, and season-long contests. You can either enter into these and compete against thousands of other entrants for huge prizes, or, if you'd like, you can enter into a private draft with friends and family to compete for a smaller prize pool. Underdog keeps it super simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps. Sign up now by clicking the link in the description or by using the promo code Talking Friars, and you'll double your first deposit up to $100 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit of $10 or more. So if you deposit $100, you get $100 free. If you deposit $10, you get $10 free.
All right, so this San Diego State game, what a game. I mean, before the game, I was thinking about, because the Matt Bradley Underdog Fantasy higher or lower on points, I believe was like 13. And I was tempted to go lower and place that entry, but I was like, well, San Diego State, great defensively. Matt Bradley, last couple games, he's come up big. The free throw stuff is gone. So I should have went lower, but Matt Bradley still had an amazing effect at the end on this game, made free throws. There was the trap that Alabama tried to get on Bradley late, and he ended up getting out of it. 3 Bama players surrounded him, and he got out. I think Parrish had free throws there. He made, I think, 1 of 2 of those. But what a game. San Diego State, Alabama. Yes, I was wrong. I'll admit that. I thought that Alabama was going to win. I thought it was going to be close. I thought San Diego State could win the game, and it was close. San Diego State, by the way, wins 71 to 64. They outscored Alabama 28-23 in the first half, and then 43-41 in the second half. They had a big, like, 12-0 run that they had in the second half. I believe it was the second half. That was obviously huge. Gave them all the momentum. Darian Trammell, my goodness. Talk about having a game of your life in the biggest spot possible, right? But I thought, getting back to my pre-game prediction, going into the game, I thought Alabama was going to win. It was going to be a close game. Both had really good defenses, but I thought that Alabama, they're a good three-point shooting team as well. They have the length advantage over San Diego State. I just thought that they were going to be able to edge San Diego State out. But San Diego State, they played a perfect game, pretty much. Were there Alabama runs? Yeah. And did San Diego State shoot the 3 amazingly well? They made 6 threes. It's not amazingly well. Was Matt Bradley their best player? Did he step up all game long? No. But when they needed him most at the end, he stepped up. When they needed a big game from someone, like Darian Trammell, he stepped up. 21 points. Made 3 threes. Micah Parrish made 2 threes. Seiko added a 3. 9 for 16 from the field today. Darian Trammell. I thought that he might have been limping a little bit in the first half because he was clipped, I think, by Brandon Miller on his left hip, left leg. Came back in the game. He was making threes. He was making jumpers. I mean, what a game from him. Remember in I think it was the Mountain West tournament, he was not scoring at all in games, and you could see they had him on the bench, not sulking, but just obviously not very happy about his performance. But then, fast forward a couple weeks later, and he's having the game of his life. That's so cool. So cool to watch. Over 20 points for him, 8 points for Keyshawn Johnson, 4 points for Nathan Mensah, who grabbed 8 rebounds, 5 blocks for Nathan Mensah in this game. What a block he had in late in the second half, too. My goodness. Butler, 4 points. Bradley, 6 points. Bradley, he had no points with 10:47 left in the second half. So Alabama limited him. Didn't do anything. I think he was 0 for 6 from the field at that point. But again, he made those free throws late to make it, I think, back into a 2-possession game. Trammell, 14 points with 10:47 left. At that same point that Bradley had no points, he stepped up, right? Bradley was not clicking. Trammell stepped up. The defense stepped up. It was a weird game. Like, it wasn't a totally clean game. There was loose balls that could have had more possessions on Alabama's side, could have had more possessions for San Diego State. Alabama, like I said earlier, they're a better three-point shooting team, I thought. But watching this game, you wouldn't have thought that. They end up making 3 three-pointers the entire game. 3 for 27. They shot 11.1% from 3. I mean, if they would have made a couple more of those, obviously this story would have been maybe a little bit different. San Diego State, credit to them defensively, limited Brandon Miller to 1 three-pointer. Brandon Miller attempted 10 three-pointers, 1 for 10 from 3, 9 points, kept them in single digits, Alabama's best player. They kept Clowney with 3 points. By the way, he almost went to San Diego State. And a rope fouled out late in this game, second half of this game, and it was still close. And I wish I would have enjoyed San Diego State's dominance a little bit more. But I was kind of just waiting, Alabama, they're the 1 seed here. They have the length. I'm just waiting for them to go back, tie this game, take the lead. And it got close. I think it was a 4-point game at one point. It was a 2-point game, I remember, late in the second half. And I was waiting for that, for San Diego State to end up, being down. Maybe they came back and won. But I was waiting for that moment. But it didn't happen. San Diego State kept going, kept playing. Really, really good defense. And this is the first Mountain West team ever to advance to the Elite Eight. UNLV, Wyoming, as they said on the broadcast, they had some runs, but they were not a part of the Mountain West Conference yet. So this is the best team in San Diego State men's basketball history, results-wise. The 30-2 team in 2020, I'm always going to think that's the best San Diego State team. They would have been a Final Four team. But this team right here has the chance to do that with a win over, I believe, Princeton or Creighton on Sunday. And I believe they're going to be the higher seed in this game. They're going to be wearing their white home unis, I think, on Sunday. So could not be happier for Brian Dutcher. It was Steve Fisher's birthday today. So obviously a great birthday present for him. What a win. Jaden Ledee, I got to shout him out. That spin dunk that he had, the one-hand slam, that got everyone fired up. It seemed like there were a lot of San Diego State fans there in Louisville today. So credit to all the San Diego State fans that showed up. I think I saw Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings head coach, was there. I know it's a Friday, so that probably helped. But, man, it looked like there was a lot of State fans there. 21 points from Darion Trammell. He showed up when it mattered. Matt Bradley showed up when it mattered. Nathan Mensah showed up defensively when it mattered. A rope, how many blocks did he have? No blocks, but had 5 rebounds. No, 3 rebounds, excuse me. So he didn't have his best game, but guess what? Ledee had a really good game. 12 points for him. Keshad, right? Mensah, they stepped up for other guys that weren't having their best game. What a run. So they beat Charleston. They beat Furman to get to the Sweet 16. They have to go up against the number 1 seed. No one picked San Diego State to win this game, at least from what I saw, including myself. But I thought it was going to be a close game, and it was. Alabama's a good team. But San Diego State, they played better. It seemed like they wanted it a little bit more. Matt Bradley, I think Matt Bradley was called for the foul in the first half, but went diving for that ball, and his face smashed against the court, against the hardwood. It felt like San Diego State wanted it more. They went and earned that win. Yeah, Alabama did not shoot well from 3. But Darion Trammell had the game of his life. The defense stepped up. So congratulations to San Diego State, to the Elite Eight for the first time in program history. They did something. They have done something this year that Kawhi Leonard's team did not do. Again, the 30-2 team will never know. Malachi Flynn has told me in person that he thought that they'd go win that all. They'd go win it all that year in 2020. But obviously, COVID happened. I mean, there's a bunch of teams, by the way, that are going to have that what if. I look at women's basketball with Oregon and Sabrina Ionescu. I loved watching that team, and obviously the San Diego State men's team. Those are two that, one on each side, men's, women's, that stand out to me. Like, what if they would have went to the Final Four, both of those teams, if they could have gotten that opportunity. So what a year already. This year is already an amazing success for San Diego State. And now you're going to feel like they can go win. If Creighton goes and beats Providence, if Creighton goes and beats Princeton, which I think they can do, you're going to have a rematch from last year. San Diego State in the Elite Eight is going to get a chance to get that revenge game over Creighton, which was a first-round game last year. Wild. What a win from San Diego State. Congratulations to them. Man. We'll get back to the chat, obviously. Any comments, any questions, put them in there. San Diego Wave, they start their season tomorrow night. I mean, what a week and a half, a week span this is going to be for San Diego sports. Padres opening day on Thursday. San Diego State playing in the Elite Eight on Sunday. The Wave, who have a really good chance, I think, at winning the whole thing this year. They're a top 3, top 4 team in the NWSL going into the season. They open up against Mallory Swanson and the Chicago Red Stars at home. They've already sold over 20,000 tickets. A lot of fans are going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be a great, great atmosphere, so I cannot wait to be there for that. What a time for San Diego sports, huh? The Pac-12 decision, right? That's coming up. So, I mean, what a time for San Diego State to be in the Elite Eight, right? Right when the Pac-12's considering them to join the conference to, help replace UCLA, USC in that conference as that Southern California representative. Yeah, San Diego State's farther than those schools got. They just went and beat the number 1 team in the country. How about just add them to the Pac-12 and get this over with, huh? That's my viewpoint on it, but obviously that's me being a biased San Diego sports fan and wanting San Diego State to be in a Power 5 conference. But getting back to the chat here, we'll end it with the chat. Yeah, a lot of excitement about the Aztecs. And it's well-deserved. Should be excited. They're going to a place on Sunday they've never been. Ari says, I bet that Charlie Blackmon is happy he's starting his year against us. Yeah, but hopefully the Padres have a good enough lineup. I think they do. They have a good enough lineup to overcome Charlie Blackmon because the Rockies suck. Or at least they're expected to suck. They're not trying to win, and the Padres have a stacked lineup. They have one of the best lineups in baseball. And I have confidence in the pitching staff as a whole going into the season. So hopefully it's not like 2019 where Blackmon can just go single-handedly beat the Padres. Devin, that's not Padres related, but did you see Mad Dog's comments about Ohtani versus Trout? Yeah. He's the only guy on the face of the earth that had those comments. Even football fans, basketball fans that don't watch baseball, who watched it, they were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. No, Mad Dog was like, no, this at bat, really? We're calling this amazing at bat? It's March. Mike Trout strikes out all he does is he does nothing but strike out. That's literally what Mad Dog said. A 3-time MVP, like a 10-time All-Star, one of the best baseball players we've ever seen. He criticizes Mike Trout. All he does is strike out. Shut up. I got to get him on the show again. We'll see if he can come on the show again this year, and I could definitely get him again. Because if you were paying attention to the show last year, I think it was last year when he came on the show, and he was a big fan of Hosmer, and he didn't think that Hosmer was like why the Padres were not having much success. And I wanted Hosmer gone, and I thought that could save money, improve the roster, and what do you know? Hosmer leaves, and they go to the NLCS without Tatis, without Bogarts, right? So I think I won that. We'll see if I can get him on this year. What other guests do you want me to try to get on this year? Let me know in the chat. Irie says, players that smash at Petco against us, Charlie Blackmon, Brian Reynolds hit well over 300 at Petco. I'm sure that it's not just those guys. David Peralta stands out to me. I don't know about Ryan McMahon. I haven't looked up his numbers at Petco. But, yeah, there's other guys than just those that stand out to me on who mashes at Petco. But, again, I have trust in our pitching staff. A lot of those numbers were when the Padres had Joey Lucchesi thrown out on the mound, or Eric Lauer or Craig Stammen out of the bullpen. Alex says, more Padres blogger. He was awesome. Yeah, he's great. Go give him a follow on social media. Him and I feel like we connect really well because we're real diehard Padres fans. I know not every Padres fan is going to be a real diehard Padres fan. Maybe they're just getting into the game, and I'm fine with that. I welcome all Padres fans. If you're just getting into the Padres because of how good they are and you just want to see entertaining baseball and you live in San Diego and you're going to be a Padre fan now, welcome on in. Like, I love that. But for the diehard fans that like me and him that can really connect, because it's like, yeah, we've been through it. Sure, he's older than me and he's been through more than I have, but I've been through a lot too, a lot of losing, and sitting there game in, game out, losing, having Will Myers be like the face of the franchise, or Eric Hosmer dropping pop-ups against the Astros, and it's a walk-off win for the Astros. Stuff like that. When the Padres fan, there weren't as many Padres fans tuning in, right? To see the fan base grow, and now the diehard fans get to see that success and this great roster. Definitely brings me a lot of joy. I'm sure it brings him a lot of joy. It brings Padres fans all around the city a lot of joy. And you got to give credit to AJ and to Peter Seidler, obviously, for losing money, being okay with losing money, millions of dollars. Forbes came out with a report the other day that Seidler's going to, last year, I think, that he lost millions of dollars. I forget. Let me look this up. I think the Union Tribune wrote an article about it. But Seidler lost like $50+ million, I want to say, last season. And it's going to be more this year, I would think. Yeah, Forbes estimates the Padres' value is at $1.75 billion. And Forbes they estimated the Padres' operating losses of $55 million in 2022. That was $23 million more than they lost in 21. So Seidler is willing to lose over $50 million for this team to be a winner. And it's going to probably be more, like I just said, probably be more this year because there's a higher payroll. But he's okay with that because he wants to win. That's all he cares about. He wants to win. He wants the city to experience a parade. It's never happened before, right? A World Series parade. That's what he wants. And I think he'll make the money back, years down the road when fans consistently sell out. If they can, go win that this year. They can go win it all this year. And they have the team. I think they have the team. It's about health. It's about if the depth guys end up being what the Padres think they're going to be. And maybe some stars that are acquired before the trade deadline, or even not stars, even smaller players that are acquired before the trade deadline that are maybe that missing piece, right? But they have the talent. Stacked lineup, good rotation, depth pitching-wise. I'm really confident in the bullpen where it's at right now. So it's going to be an exciting season. We're less than a week away. I cannot freaking wait. All right. Episode 370. That is it. Thank you, everyone, for the time. Podcast platforms. YouTube. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your night and go Padres. See ya. Go Aztecs.